Day live show with me, Rob Tebbutt, joined by the one and only DAZN, TalkSport, all of that stuff. We've got a limited time here, so I can't list all of his jobs, or else we'll run out of it. Ade Oladipo, Ade, we're here.
We're here again. We're here again. Nervous as I was 3 years ago. Remember this? We did this 3 years ago. I remember it very, very well. And even then, 3 years ago, I was like, you know what? Not quite sure the weight and AJ's mindset and blah, blah, blah. And here we are again 3 years later, and I'm saying exactly the same things. But I guess the difference is this time it's not Andy Ruiz. It's arguably the pound-for-pound best fighter on the planet. So, look, I'm nervous as an AJ fan. I want it to be a really good I really want it to be a competitive fight. Regardless if AJ wins or loses, look, I want him to win. But even if he loses, I almost want him to put it all on the line for this one. I feel like that performance at Tottenham last time out just wasn't the AJ that I've seen in previous fights. But I've said this to a lot of people. He's not been fighting Usyk in previous fights. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of people say, let's bring the old school AJ back. He hasn't fought anything like this before. At least no one this good. So look, I'm expecting it to be a good fight, good atmosphere. I think we saw from the way in the crowd are going to make some noise. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, you mentioned it's a slightly different vibe this time. This isn't Andy Ruiz. He's going in against a pound for pound, arguably pound for pound number one, certainly top three fighter. What do we need to see from Anthony Joshua this time that we didn't see from him against Andy Ruiz? It was a very much kind of safety first, cautious boxing display last time, but we need to see kind of the opposite of that tonight.
Yeah, look, I was looking at the punch stats from the first fight, and it's strange. When you watch it back, you almost feel like he's gassing out in the last 3 rounds, and he clearly was. But he threw a lot of punches in rounds 10, 11, and 12. Not so much in the first 3 or 4 rounds where he was trying to have almost a jabbing competition with Oleksandr Usyk, which was silly. He needs to start on the front foot and be aggressive. I know it sounds simple, but that's what he needs to do. Does he risk getting knocked out and hurt? Yeah, he does. But he needs to start fast. And I feel like Robert Garcia in there, we know how Robert Garcia fighters fight. I think he will start fast. It could leave him open, but that's the risk you take, right? That's the risk that you take fighting Oleksandr Usyk in the pocket. But I think we are going to see a better AJ, but also I think we're going to see a better Usyk. I mean, this is a guy now that's used to the weight, used to carrying the extra bulk. He'll be comfortable. He's confident. He's almost bordering on arrogant because he knows he's that good. I think we're going to see a better Usyk as well.
Everybody's talked about, of course, Robert Garcia joining the camp, Rob the Kraken. I mean, this is the first time Anthony Joshua's gone into a top-level fight as an amateur or a pro without Rob the Kraken. Going back to that corner and not seeing the guy who's always been there for your biggest nights and your lowest nights, that night with Andy Ruiz, and, of course, this past September in London. He's got Robert Garcia and Angel Fernandez. Now, historically, two voices in the corner hasn't always been the right fit. What have you picked up? What have you learned from being around them this week in camp?
Strange, if I'm honest with you. I don't like it. I don't like there's almost too many cooks in the kitchen for me there. Robert Garcia is a top-level coach, and he should be the sole voice in the corner. He should have brought his whole team over, and it'd be Robert Garcia coming over with his best game plan, not necessarily trying to work alongside Angel Fernandez. But I do feel AJ wasn't comfortable doing a full split. You mentioned that he's been with Rob McCracken. Obviously, Angel Fernandez has been there for the last couple of fights. And I thought he wanted to make sure that there was someone familiar in that corner, some familiar voice. And he's got that in Angel Fernandez. But hopefully, come fight night, it's only Robert Garcia giving instructions. If it's the both of them, there's a problem.
Sorry, 1 second. George Fraser's just made a very good point about me moving my mic slightly because I'm looking at Ade. Are we all good? We're all good?
This is where, obviously, I'm clearly the
everybody's completely washed over here.
Ade got professional broadcaster.
Ade got here on Thursday.
Knows exactly where to put my lav mic. No problems. Rob.
Right, okay, we're going to go through here. We're going to try and get some stuff. So Adam Beanie Smith, shout out Adam Beanie Smith, probably shouldn't have read the full name there. Rob, ask Ade about him saying on TalkSport that AJ is the best athlete he has ever seen.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, look, I don't cover the NFL, which I'm sure has ridiculous athletes, and so does the NBA. But having seen AJ train up close and personal, I can't be more impressed with what he does. Look, does that mean he's the best boxer? Of course not. But it's just as a pure athlete. You know the old thing when they used to make sort of athletes go against each other and do, was it running, high jump, long jump, shot put? AJ would have won that hands down. Like, honestly, he would have easy, give him his money. But yeah, best athlete I've ever seen, and I'm not going to take that back. Again, there could be others out there from other sports and other disciplines, but you just look at him. I mean, this guy is a 6'5" Greek god. And look, he should trust his gas tank. He's as fit as he can be. I think he looks good on the scales. AJ will always have bulk and muscle, but he's not the 18 stone 4 that fought Carlos Takam. He realizes that doesn't work for him. And I think this AJ, 17.3 to 17.6 is a good weight for him.
Okay, right. Try and get some questions in on the chat. We've only got Ade for about 15 more minutes. He's a very, very busy man these days. I jokingly said on Twitter, but it is true. It was much easier to get hold of him when he was unemployed. Now he's got everybody else's work. So if anybody has any questions for Ade before he shoots off, please let us know. Do you guys agree with the narrative that AJ only has 6 rounds to finish this? That's from Charlie Bell Richings.
Well, I mean, his power will wane. I mean, AJ's power, if you've seen in previous fights, doesn't seem to last all the distance to 12 rounds. His power will wane. And it depends how fast he starts. If he starts fast, then probably. I mean, you don't have to be a genius to think AJ rounds 1 to 6, Usyk after. But Usyk could get this done in 1 to 6. Do you know what I mean? Like Usyk could put AJ to sleep. I'm not silly to not think that. But I think AJ's power between 1 and 6 will be there, and if he gets the job done, I think it will be between those rounds.
Yeah, I don't necessarily subscribe to the fact that he could only get it done in 1 to 6. For me personally, I mean, I felt like the first fight wasn't particularly difficult to score. I think it was 9-3, and I think if you were very generous to Joshua, you could give him 4 rounds. But one of the judges had 4 rounds for him, which is very generous. One of the judges had 5 rounds for him, which I thought was criminal. So if it gets a little bit closer, look, I know it's Usyk-Joshua 2. He's the champion. He's, I guess, the A side, but the commercial juggernaut, the marketable character is Anthony Joshua. Yeah. Stranger things have happened than seeing somebody with his commercial backing and his money that brings into sport get a lot of favourable decisions.
It's just the way it works in boxing, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is. I gave a little betting preview for Bet365. Shout out Bet365. 8-1 on Anthony Joshua by decision. I think that's a big price.
He has to bank early rounds, which he didn't. I mean, remember in the first fight when, 20 seconds in, he gets caught with a left straight down the pipe, knocked his head back, first round lost. He needs to bank the early rounds if he is to get a points decision. But AJ can get that. For me, it's unlikely, but AJ can get a points decision. And as you say, I think Steve Gray's one of the judges. Maybe he might get a favourable decision from the British judge. Who knows?
We've got a super chat here from Alexander Wilson. Ronnie Shields said that he was offered to train AJ, but he had to relocate to the UK. He said he would not train him in the US. Said he would only train him in the USA. They said no, mistake. What do you think?
I you know what? Whether or not that happened, I'm not quite sure. But even when I heard that Robert Garcia's come into Loughborough to train AJ, when Robert Garcia's got one of the best training setups in Oxnard, California, doesn't make sense to me. No one will know AJ in America, with all due respect. He can walk around, he can live his life. Go to America and train. You want the best Robert Garcia, you need to train in Robert Garcia's surroundings. With all the voices, all the old school voices in there. The idea of Robert Garcia coming to Loughborough, just for me, doesn't sit well with me. Will it make a difference on fight night? Who knows? It's a small percentages when you're talking the very elite stuff. But if that was Ronnie Shields' reason not to train AJ, I fully understand it.
Yeah, and also you've seen Robert Garcia kind of travel back and forward. He went back for the Bam Rodriguez fight with Srisikas or Rungbasai. So that's not ideal either. You've kind of got him coming in and then going out. I mean, we caught up with Robert Garcia and Angel Fernandez recently, and they were kind of saying, Robert said, we're going to have, maybe 1 round he'll talk and then I'll talk, and then maybe we have a cut man and he might talk, and it just all seems a little bit confused in the corner. Do you think that's fair to say?
100%. I think it takes about maybe 3 or 4 fight camps to get really on sync with fighter and trainer to the point where it's almost, you just know exactly what your trainer wants and the fighter knows exactly what he needs to do. You don't need this extra stuff going on when you're not in sync. And I thought, again, to make it easier for AJ should have been in California, and it should have just been AJ and Robert Garcia. And this is no disrespect to Angel Fernandez. I think he's doing good stuff, Richard Riakporhe and others, but it should be AJ and Robert Garcia, not AJ, Robert Garcia, and Angel Fernandez in Loughborough.
Okay, we've got a question here from Nathan Taylor. Final question for Ade Sopranos on The Wire. We're very pressed for time, so no silly questions. It's obviously The Wire. Moving along, a guy called Henry. Shout out a guy called Henry.
Hey, big shout out.
I think people make more of everything than is reality when AJ is involved. I think that's fair to say. I think you get that, though. But that kind of comes with the territory of being a big star fighter.
Yeah, agreed. Any top athlete in any sport, we do over-scrutinize. We do look at absolute... So that's the camera we need. There you go. Yeah, we're live.
Are we on now?
We are.
Okay, we've managed to get back to it. Let's go. Slightly little bit of a change of setup here, but we're back. We're back. It's fight day. We've worked like 100 and something hours this week, so we're back here. Can everybody hear us? Can everybody see? I can hear and see. There we go. Right, we're back. We're back. We've only got 8 minutes left. With Ade said 10 past, but I'm sure everyone will keep him here for another 8 minutes. We are back. There's an echo. Look, you can see us. So what can I say? Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else? Ken Birdie, you are muted. I
don't know. Ken says you may get people that you just don't know if they're telling the truth or not.
maybe he's muted. Will the referee be very important tonight? Remember, Hatton could not get to work versus Mayweather because of Cortez.
You just don't know if they're telling the truth.
maybe. Okay, you're back. I can hear you. Right, everyone said that they can hear us, so that's fine. Let's go back to that question. Will the referee be very important? I think it's the referee, Louis Pabon. I think is the referee. Likes a bit of a stoppage, Louis Pabon. So that could be significant in the fight. I think if Anthony Joshua is going to stop Usyk, we spoke about this earlier off camera. He needs to hit him with a shot and jump all over him. If the referee wants to jump in and stop it prematurely, look.
Yeah, AJ almost needs, like the Vladimir Klitschko fight where it looks like Vlad could have maybe gone on for a few seconds. Referee jumped in immediately. AJ needs to swarm him. If he hits him, swarm him. And AJ, in the past, has been a good finisher. He's not a wilder finisher, but he will jump on you and he makes his punches count. So if AJ can swarm on him, if he lands clean, then who knows, right? Who knows?
Absolutely. Does the best version of AJ beat the best version of Usyk from Bust a Move 78?
No, and I don't think he does, if I'm honest with you. I think Usyk's tremendous. I mean, I watch him and I just feel like he can do everything. I was having a conversation yesterday for TalkSport and was talking about him just as the pantheon of sort of great, not just heavyweights, but just great fighters. Like how would he match up against other heavyweights in the past? Like what would Mike Tyson do against Usyk? Would he just rush him? How would he match up against Evander Holyfield? Like little ones. And I feel like Usyk, I mean, this guy's had over 300 amateur fights. He can do a bit of everything. And he's super confident as well.
That's from Lewis Moore. Yeah, I mean, so that means, I mean, by the way, Ade is picking Joshua by knockout tonight. So if the best version of Oleksandr Usyk turns up tonight, Joshua can't win.
No.
So we need to see a worse version of Usyk. Otherwise, it's
honestly, Usyk needs to slip a little, maybe overconfident. 35, right? I mean, his mind's elsewhere as well. Let's not forget what's going on in his home country. And we need to see AJ step up from what we saw in London. We need to see a better AJ than we've ever seen. And we're asking big things here, but I feel like for AJ to win, I feel like we need to see Usyk slip a little bit.
Box Live says, any idea why everyone thinks Usyk is looking a lot bigger? Could it have had something to do with his weight loss earlier in the year? Has he eaten back up to 220, so might be carrying more body fat? I don't know. I think the video that was released, we don't know when that video was filmed. That was obviously filmed from a certain angle. Yeah. We've all seen from Andy Ruiz and, of course, myself, because when we're on camera, we don't like to look too big. So there's things that you can do with regards to moving the camera shot. But I don't necessarily think – I felt like Usyk looked in good condition. We sat down with him on Monday. Anthony Joshua always looks in great physical condition. But I think, look, heavyweight, you always obsess over the weight classes because it's the only weight class you can do that. Like you can only really guess unless somebody's like really tight at the weight. So I think everybody just kind of ends up over-analyzing these things when it comes to the big fight, which is, of course, part of our job to make people do that. But, I don't think he has looked any bigger. Do you think he looked any fleshier?
Maybe a bit fleshier. I think Amir Khan, silly, didn't he? He said, like, Usyk's put on 15 kg, which was ridiculous. I mean, everyone ran with that. But it's just the lighting sometimes as well. I mean, AJ put up a photo of himself on Instagram, and I was like, he's definitely lost weight. And then he comes in and he's 4 pounds heavier. So, I don't know. It's lighting, it's Instagram posts, it's filters, who knows?
Okay, we've got one here. How do you both see the fight playing out, Ade? Bearing in mind, he's just said that if Oleksandr Usyk, he's just said that Anthony, if Usyk turns up in the best physical, I've set him up for that one.
I think AJ catches him. I think AJ catches him with something inside. Hopefully, one of these famed uppercuts we've not seen for ages, and that could be the shot, right, coming in. And then he needs to swarm on him, and AJ needs to honestly go through the fire in this one. I think he can get the job done. Look, if we're being honest, I think Oleksandr Usyk has to be again at a different level, a lower level than he was in the first fight. But if AJ lands clean, Don't tell me that 17.5 stone monster can't knock him out. So I think AJ lands an uppercut, swarms him, ref stops it.
Okay, I think Oleksandr Usyk wins the fight. I felt like he would win the first fight, but I was kind of
Remember we both said that. Remember when we was me, you, and Andy Clark, and Barry Jones, and I was like, can see Usyk winning this one.
I had it kind of 60-40 at the start of fight week, and then as the fight week progressed, I felt more confident. Yeah, I felt more confident in Usyk, or I felt like Usyk seemed more confident. Now this one, I kind of started at like, let's say 75-25, 80-20 for Usyk. And as the fights got closer, I feel more confident in Usyk this time as well. I just feel like we've seen the fight. We've seen them go 12 rounds of each other, and I didn't think it was very close. I think Anthony Joshua boxed well, like contrary to popular belief. I thought he boxed very well, but he got beaten pretty convincingly. And when you've got the ring IQ and the ability to process information and the experience that Oleksandr Usyk has, I can't see how he doesn't win the fight tonight. Short of him getting clipped by a shot, which can happen. Look, the old adage of it's heavyweight boxing, it is true. Usyk comes, tries to take the middle of the ring like he did in the first fight, catches Joshua, and then I feel like once the Ruiz rematch, Joshua has to do. I don't see how he can change the pattern of this one. G-Man Boxing, shout out G-Man Boxing. I've been trying to get something done with him all week, and the times that I've messaged him have been like 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning. Shout out G-Man Boxing, salute to the lads. AJ majority decision. I'm sticking with it. That might not be a bad shout at all. Okay. Just going to try and rattle through these last few before he goes. So Ken Birdie keeps saying this. So I put $4,000 on AJ inside 3 rounds. I'm betting heavy. What's the likely chance of me winning big?
Nothing. You've lost your money.
Well, you just said if he's going to win, he's going to win rounds 1 to 6.
Not in 3. Not in 3 though. You've lost your money. Speak to your wife now and just apologise.
Yeah, don't tell the missus about that one, maybe. Yeah. Will AJ's gloves make a difference tonight? He's wearing Grants. It's not the first time he's worn Grants. The last time he wore Grants, I believe, was AJ Ruiz 1 in New York. Obviously, we saw how that one ended up, but more of a traditional puncher's gloves than the Rivals, although it does depend on what Grants. We've got
100%.
We've got
you said that,
Russ Amber here, who of course is the proprietor for Rival, which is where Usyk will be wearing his gloves. Lomachenko wears Rivals. Joshua has worn Rivals in the past. They did the glove selection yesterday, and Amber said that the Rivals that Usyk are wearing are actually less padded than the Grants that Joshua are wearing. So yes, brands matter and stuff like that, but it depends on, where's the padding? Is the padding in the wrist and there's none on the knuckle? Is the padding on the knuckle and there's none on the wrist? It depends on where the pad is distributed across the glove. But apparently, Usyk's gloves are more attributed to that of a puncher than Joshua's gloves, even though Joshua's wearing Grants.
Usyk's a puncher. Usyk can hit. Usyk can crack as well. This isn't boxer versus puncher. This is boxer puncher versus puncher. He can do a bit of everything, Usyk. That said, AJ still knocks him out.
Okay, right. Any last questions for Ade? Because we know Ade needs to shoot. We've already kept him 5 minutes longer than he wanted to be.
Guys, trust me, I wanted to do this. We should have done this at 12.
We've been trying this. Ade got pulled into a DAZN meeting because he's big time now.
Yeah.
And then we got moved from downstairs by the hotel, who weren't very happy with us sitting downstairs. But yeah, any last questions for Ade before Ade goes? We're going to be joined by Andi Purewal. Shout out Andi Purewal.
It's not the same, is it? That substitution.
Zador Pataki. Ade, love your YouTube channel, mate. Everybody go follow Boxing Talk with Ade. Big him up. Do you listen to Hatman's channel? Yes, we do. Buster Move 78. What makes you think Usyk is going to dip enough for this fight for AJ to win? That's one for you, Ade.
Overconfidence. That's the only thing I can admit. Overconfidence. The legs do start to slow. He's 35. You look at the amateur career, it will add up. It will 100% add up. You look at Teofimo Lopez versus Vasily Lomachenko, quite similar in terms of big amateur career. And you see the way Teofimo Lopez put it on him early. Don't get me wrong, Vasily Lomachenko started to crawl the rounds back, but it was too late. And that's kind of my hope how this one might. If AJ can jump on early, then Usyk's got a lot to do and he has to stop AJ to get the result. But that's my only thinking. Like, Father Time will catch up with everyone. And Usyk is 35, long career, very, very long career. Who knows?
Right, this is my bribe to Ade, so you can stay here a little while longer, damn it.
I'm not getting any of this money, though, so I don't know.
Also, the coverage... Oh, shut up, mate. We're support the new startup, Ade. You got plenty of money, man. Also, the coverage has been great all week. Thanks for building the hype for me at home. This is just... There's no question. That's just a bribe. That's nice. Big up Saqib Rafiq for that. Ade's got to go.
I've got to shoot.
So Ade needs to go. So I'm going to be in here for a little while longer. Ade, give your final message to the fans before you go, man.
Guys, look, subscribe to ID Boxing, as you probably all are. They're doing a lot of things kicking ass. I finally got my interview as well with Andy up. It's on like 10,000. We need to get it to 15. So please watch the interview. I got more views than Adam Smith.
Tell him not to skip that.
Yeah, don't skip the ads as well. Don't skip the ads. It's important. Yeah. And go to Ade's YouTube channel as well.
Boxing Talk with Ade. Ade Oladipo. I'll catch up with you next week or something. Yeah?
Well, no, tonight. Well, me and Rob are going to do like a post-fight reaction tonight.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah, wicked. We'll do it. What time's your flight?
My flight's 2:30 in the afternoon.
Okay, so you're gonna have to be at the airport for like 11.
Yeah, business class.
What you saying? Oh fuck!
Just saying. It's not my fault.
Fucking business class. I direct flight as well. I've got to change in I've got to change in Riyadh in the morning. So it's just me for the minute, guys. So if you have any questions for me, I know I'm not Ade. But there was a period of time when nobody cared about Ade. But, it was like last week or something. So we're just going to wait until we get something. Is there any chance of us moving back to the normal camera setup? Is that a thing? Because I mean, is the what? Okay, right, no problem. So we're trying to stay at it here. Anybody has any questions? Thank you for joining us, Ade. Yeah, business class, unbelievable, Daniel. Absolutely terrible. Do you know the ring size for tonight? I don't actually, Jordan. We saw the ring yesterday. I mean, I don't know, mate. It's a ring. I'd be completely guessing. Alex Bellotti, do you think AJ can jab and hold? No, it's not something that we've seen him do in the past, and it's not something that we've seen Robert Garcia's fighters do. That kind of Manny Stewart heavyweight style of, fighting big. I see somebody speaking about Wilder Fury 2 beforehand, and if the fight can go like that on Usyk's end, but Fury fought while he big manned Wilder in the second fight, which is stand up nice and tall, lead hand nice and high. Every time Wilder came at him, he just took the step back. I don't think we can see Anthony Joshua do that. I think he's just going to need to go in there and try and chin him. Right? Any questions? Thanks for joining us, Ade. Andy's going to jump in a minute. Ade's living the sweet life. He certainly is. How often has a fight result changed for you over the course of a fight week? Good question. Not that often, I don't think. I don't know, because sometimes it does. Like the weigh-in in particular can be quite significant sometimes. You see somebody like Ruiz-Joshua. I actually felt like Ruiz was a bad style for Joshua, and we saw that in the first fight. And then when we saw Ruiz on the scales, I kind of changed my mind. I don't know what else. What his ring size looks small. I don't know who that favors though, because Usyk didn't run from Joshua in the first fight. I think this misconception that Usyk's some sort of dancer is a bit unfounded. He's a pressure fighter who comes forward and tries to get underneath and let his shots go to the head and to the body. Premium pays creators, but very little if you watch a lot. Yeah. But still, please donate money. We need to pay for my food expenses, which is not it's not a cheap thing to do when you eat like me. Which gloves? Jermaine says which gloves he is got. Grant, Sakib, the super chat didn't last that long, but you can take that up with Ade. Go onto his channel. Can you explain the difference in the gloves? We kind of already did, but we'll go for it again. It depends on what the gloves are made out of. It depends where the distribution is of the glove. A lot of the time, I say a lot of the time, sorry, I'm very tired. Sometimes you get the pad in here, sometimes you get the pad in there. It depends on your hands, if you've got brittle hands or whatever. So yeah, that can be a big difference. So we're bringing in Andi Purewal now from ID Boxing. If AJ wins and you both interview him, will you let him know you doubted he could do it? Yeah, why not? I think everybody doubts he can do it. I don't think there's any problem with that. It's kind of our job in the media. Okay, so we're now joined by Andi Purewal. Shout out Andi Purewal. And we're back on the main feed, which is good because I look a lot more slim on there than I do from this angle. Sorry, say that again? The battery power drains like hell apparently, so you may have to get the really close up one of my ugly face before then. Let's get back on Restream where we can see things. Okay, so we're joined by Andi Purewal. You all right, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Good.
I'm doing well as well. But anyway, what are your thoughts on tonight? We've obviously just been left by Ade. Your thoughts on how the fight goes tonight?
I always try and stay neutral, but I've said from day one I feel like Usyk's going to be victorious. It's just what we need to see from AJ is going back to probably Klitschko, where he was more aggressive, and as stupid as it sounds, people said he needs to get that dog back into him. He needs to be willing to take a punch to land one. And it's just more so, I think, when Usyk lands on him for that first time tonight, is he going to have flashbacks of what happened in the first fight, and is he going to fall into the same routines as to how he boxed in that first fight, or can he come through the fire and start to try and push Usyk back? I lean more towards the first of those and believe that Usyk will eventually kind of get to him and potentially stop him later on.
Okay, cool. Just going to try and get through some of these questions in the chat. James Hickson, which undercard fight are you most looking forward to tonight, Andy?
It's always going to be Ben Whittaker.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, so Andy's looking forward to Ben Whittaker. For people who don't know, Andy has known Ben Whittaker for a long time. They kind of, I suppose, grew up together a long time ago in Wolverhampton, a beautiful part of the world. If you haven't been there, then check out Wolverhampton. For myself, Hrgovic Zhang, I think there's nothing better than like a big, horrible heavyweight slugfest. I think 3 or 4 rounds of that's going to be very, very interesting. I think, as I said earlier on in the chat, I think Zhang is going to go straight at Hrgovic. We've not seen people do that in the past. Generally, kind of nudge and nurdle and try and get through it. Whereas Zhang only fights one way. So I'm looking forward to that very much so. What's your opinion on the Jeddah, Saudi Arabia so far? I kind of mentioned this in some of the other videos. Fight week is kind of fight week for us. I mean, it's really hot here, obviously. But generally speaking, you kind of wake up, you do your work, you eat, and you go to bed. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, exactly. We haven't really had a chance to kind of go out. We've been stuck in hotels or eating room service at 3 a.m. in the morning. We haven't had a chance to kind of explore. But, you know, it's been an enjoyable week, a busy week, and the busiest night ahead is yet to come.
Yep. Buster Move 78. It seems to me that most AJ fans are banking the win on hope rather than the first fight. Do you agree?
Potentially, I don't know. Like, I can understand again, going back to what we said earlier, I can understand why they believe AJ can win and the introduction of Robert Garcia, but it would just be criminal to overlook Oleksandr Usyk or to think that Usyk's going to just allow AJ to bully him or to be dominant on him.
I agree with what he said there about the hope, because I think we've seen the fight, we've seen 12 rounds of it. Like, there's not really any evidence to suggest Joshua's going to chin him because we've seen them box for 12 rounds. I think there was a kind of a case to be made before the first one. There's still a case to be made now, but it is, you're relying on elements of Barry Jones said this in our preview. Shout out Barry Jones every time, that, you know, you're kind of banking on something that we've not seen before. Lewis Moore, Rob, are you looking forward to the British, Saudi and Ukrainian anthems? I'm looking forward to the Saudi one because I don't want to disrespect the Saudi national anthem. The other ones, not so much, man. The anthems are, you know, I think it's going to be quite late here by the time it starts. I think the earliest ring walk time is going to be about 1 o'clock in the morning over in Saudi. So I think I'm going to be pretty tired by the time those anthems come out. ID Boxing, shout out to Ade Purewal every time. Please explain why you moved from Boxing Social to ID Boxing. I missed something there. You certainly did, and I'm not going to talk about that on this channel. This is about ID Boxing and the big fight tonight. How likely is Fury Usyk next if Usyk wins? And how do you see that going? What do you reckon, Andy? You reckon we see the big man back in the ring? You sat down with Sugar Hill for 45 minutes or so last night. What do you reckon?
I'm more convinced we see him return if it's Anthony Joshua who wins tonight. Still think he could return for Usyk, but I'm 100% certain if AJ wins, he comes back. If Usyk wins, I'm 50-50 if Fury would come back for that, because that is as difficult a fight as he could ask for. I'd still favour Fury in it, but it's just such a difficult fight, and it'd be a real technical one. I don't know whether Tyson would want to engage with that one.
I think everybody's kind of known Tyson long enough to know that you kind of take what he says with a pinch of salt. But I think, I'm kind of going on something that he said a long time ago. He said that he'd retire, he'd beat everybody, retire, and then when the next person came along, he'd basically wait for loads of money to come back and he'd beat them as well. Tyson's no fool. He's seen the heavyweight history. Everybody who retires tends to come back. I can't think of many heavyweights, if any, who have retired and come back. I think you have without coming back. Lennox retired after the Vitaly Klitschko fight. That was probably the most kind of prominent example of somebody who wasn't able to be lured back into the ring. I think if the price is right, he'll fight anybody. If Fury's going to go over to Germany to fight Klitschko, America to fight Wilder, there's nothing that makes me think that he won't come to Saudi Arabia or wherever to box Oleksandr Usyk. I think if Anthony Joshua wins tonight, then absolutely we see Joshua versus Fury or Fury versus Joshua, as it would be. I would love that fight to happen in the UK, but I'm not sure that it will. I think we'll be out here again. Will Saudi be the home for Middle Eastern boxing from onwards? I think Probably, yes. Dubai, and we've seen Abu Dhabi has mooted for Dimitri Bivol's next fight. Obviously, it was originally discussed for Joshua Buatsi, and potentially going to be Dimitri Bivol versus Zerda Ramirez now in the Middle East. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that they're looking to pump a lot of money into the sport. If you pump the money into the sport, then people will come. Have you seen? Hang on. Have you seen Prince Nassim during the fight? Saw a clip of him at the gala thing last night. Andy?
Yeah, so we saw him when we were spending a bit of time with Roberto Duran on Thursday night. All the nights are meshing into one, yeah. So we saw Roberto Duran in one of the fight hotels. There's about 5 different fight hotels on Thursday night, and we spent a bit of time with him. He was going up to see the Prince, and then coming down the other way was Naz. So Naz and Roberto had a nice little moment together. And yeah, we saw him. He's looking in good spirits, and he was actually just on his way to Mecca then as well.
Yeah, I saw Naz on Monday at the workout. I'm friends with 2 of Naz's sons, Sami Hamed and Adam Hamed. So when we turned up, I saw Sami and Adam, and we went up and spent a little bit of time. Myself and Benjamin Faruqi, shout out him every time, and Pish, Captain Blackbeard over there. We can't leave him out. But yeah, we spent a bit of time with Naz on the Monday, and as Andy said there, we spent about an hour with the great man Roberto Duran the other night, and then we did an interview afterwards. In between that period of time, we saw Naz and Duran have a pretty interesting chat. Duran doesn't speak that much English, but he's still very kind of as we kind of know him, and that was an interesting one to see. So yeah, we've seen Naz knocking about in fight week. He is still very much one of a kind. He's still pretty much the same Naz as he was in the 90s. Sharky Jaws. Oh, we've got a chat. By the way, Rob, very happy to see you back and bigger and better with the new ideas for boxing content. Buster Move 78. Big up Buster Move 78. It's great to be back. I am running on fumes and caffeine today, so if you see any craziness from me here, please forgive me, and I'll be back to my normal self next week. John Cahill, would you get Usyk's trim, Rob? Absolutely. Why not? Mate, my hair's like it's not always looking fresh anyway, so why not get the old Cossack style Ukrainian warrior trim? Cameron Gillen, Joshua White, the fight to make if Joshua falls short next. Potentially, but I think Dillian White has got a fight that he's announcing next week. You'll all have to stay tuned to ID Boxing social channels to find out who that's going to be. Spoiler, it's not going to be Anthony Joshua, but I think that's a fight that will always be there. What do you reckon?
Yeah, 100% that one. I think they'll revisit it at some point, provided AJ obviously does continue. There's always been that talk this week about if he's going to retire or not. I highly doubt that'll be the case, but obviously that's been coming up. But yeah, that one will be there. I'd still love to see AJ Wilder. That's one I'd love to see above anything, but I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, politically, it's just not going to happen. Joshua's signed like a lifetime special advisor shareholder thing with DAZN, so I don't really think that we'll see Joshua versus Wilder, but I agree. I think the Joshua White fight will always be there for him. I think the Joshua Ruiz trilogy, look, I'm not massively overly keen on seeing it, but I think that'll always be there. They could do that fight somewhere. They could do it in Mexico. They could do it in America. But again, it would kind of involve Eddie Hearn working with Al Heyman, which is not always the easiest thing to do. Hazzy on boxing. Do you agree that the Brits should back their countrymen? I don't. Thoughts?
Wait, say that again?
Do you agree that the Brits should back their countrymen?
Well, it's difficult for us. We obviously have to remain neutral. We're in a profession here. We have to try to keep things civil, shall we say. But as just kind of a British boxing fan, if you were back home watching tonight, then I would have imagined, unless you're hardcore, most of them will just want to see AJ do well because of what he can do for the sport and kind of continue to keep that interest for that massive pull of a casual audience that AJ has to maybe bring them over into the hardcore and just continue to grow the sport.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a massive fan of kind of, as I say, not a massive fan of back your own, do you think? I mean, if you want to get behind the Brit, then absolutely. My favourite fighters are not British, but again, kind of going what you've said there, it's the kind of the hardcore inner sanctum, I suppose, of being a boxing fan. But I think, look, just back who you like. If you like Oleksandr Usyk, you back Oleksandr Usyk. Again, just to touch upon what you've said there. I mean, I don't want Joshua or Usyk to win. I have my thoughts on who I think will win the fight, which is Oleksandr Usyk. But for me, we have to be impartial as members of the media. But whoever wins, it's not really It's not, I say I don't care. I mean, it sounds harsh, but it is kind of like that. Thoughts on AJ being at the gala a night before such a big fight? I think he did it before Ruiz-Joshua 2 as well in Riyadh last time we were here, and he won that fight. So I don't think it's... Look, I think ideally he would probably want to be maybe sat in his hotel and chilling, but, I'm sure if he really wanted to do that, he would do that. So I think he's all good. Jermaine, how many people are there tonight? 12,000. Don't know, mate. When I get there, I'll do a head count just for you. I'll let you know. Trying to get through these questions. AJ will win by decision and drop Usyk in a 12-round fight, says Shabs Ali. Could well happen. I think if Anthony Joshua does drop out Oleksandr Usyk and wins maybe 3 or 4 rounds, I think that's probably going to be the formula to win. I think if he may only need to win 4 or 5 rounds. If he gets the knockdown, then, as I say, we saw those cards in the first fight in September. I think we're a little bit closer than they maybe should have been. Paulie Walnuts, is it the same arena as Groves versus Smith? Yes, it is. Liam Pinney, come on, Anthony. Yep. Alex Bellotti, confusing me why Nassim Hamid is even in Saudi. It's like Usyk going to Russia. Take that up with Naz. Rowan Perry, Anthony Joshua, yeah, good one. Trying to get through this. Running on caffeine and THC. Shout out Hounds of Boxing Review. Have you heard anything about the possible venue for Taylor Catchall 2? There's talk in the papers here in Scotland. This might be heading to London and won't be in Glasgow. Haven't heard anything on the venue there, mate. I have to say, I'm due to go and see Josh Taylor next week. Trying to get through these. Keep them questions coming in, guys. I appreciate I'm not able to get through all of them. I'm trying my best. Zhang Hergovich, what about it? How do we get... Well, I think we've already covered that. I think that's going to be a 3 or 4 round firefight. I think both myself and Andy have mentioned that. Any British cruiserweights from the past you think could have beaten Usyk? No. You?
No, not off the top of my head.
David Haye is probably if we're going to send one into battle from the UK, it would be David Haye, but I would favour Oleksandr Usyk pretty heavily in that fight. White versus Triple D, find out next week on ID Boxing News. Keep your notifications on. Guys, if you're in here, please smash that like button. I need to get better at saying that. Smash the like button. There's 356 of you now with only 60 likes. Come on, man. It's going to help the algorithm. What can we see from the link up between ID Boxing and Sporf in terms of content? Sporf is somebody that we've worked with for a long time in the past with Boxing Social. Great content teams, great distributor as part of Social Chain. I think you can see a lot of more featurey style content. We did some stuff in the past with Lawrence Okoli, Back Yourself, and a few other bits and pieces. Obviously, they'll get their boxing content from us and amplified to their audience. So, yeah, keep them peeled, man. Like, Sporf are a great company to work with, and I feel like we're very much aligned on how we see content and how we want to push things. So I'm not going to tell you what, but there's going to be some cool stuff coming up soon. Andy has to get past Luis Ortiz first. Ortiz is a dangerous old man. How do you see that fight going?
The Ruiz that fought Arreola doesn't fill me with confidence. But then Luis Ortiz, he's also 50 years old, so
he got dropped twice by Charles Martin in his last fight.
So it's difficult to wait. But I would back Ruiz to stop Ortiz.
Okay. Rob, is Usyk and his team all confident as last time? Yes. More so, probably. Despite everything that's been going on in the Ukraine, I feel like that's galvanised Usyk and his team. Yeah, I mean, Shane McGuigan, we did a podcast with him in the build-up to the first fight. He had Lawrence Coley on the undercard, and he said that, sometimes in fight week you have... It's rarely the fighter who's on edge, or rarely the fighters all believe they're going to win. It doesn't matter what the bookies say, or we can all think, he's going to lose. They'll all think they're going to win. But somebody in the team, whether it's the manager, the guy who does the corner, the guy who does the water bottles, the T-shirts, the tickets, somebody is going around and is creating problems because they're nervous. And Shane said, nobody in there was nervy. You've got Alex Krasiuk, Egis Klimas, this isn't their first rodeo. They know what they're doing. We spent some time with Alex Krasiuk on Monday afternoon. And look, they're very much confident. In the build-up to the first fight, Anthony Joshua announced his lifetime deal with Matchroom Boxing. Alex and Egis were very kind of typical about their response. They said, okay, so it runs out on Sunday because we're going to beat him. So, they're very confident, even more so, I think, than last time. He got knocked down with a jab from Charles Martin. He did. I want to see Usyk stop AJ. You may well see that tonight. You may also see Joshua stop Usyk. Who does Chisora fight next if the white fight doesn't appear to be likely next? Big Chizzy. Who for you, Andy?
I see. I would have actually liked to have seen like a Robert Helenius or something for him, because I don't want to see him go and take on a really difficult, tough fight. I don't want to ever see
Helenius is
Deontay
not
Wilder.
easy fight.
I know, but I don't want to see a Deontay Wilder mentioned. Like he's
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I wouldn't mind an Andy Ruiz fight.
Chisora Ruiz. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't think it's going to happen. I think the plan for Ruiz will be for him, all being well on PBC's end, beat Luis Ortiz. Deontay Wilder makes a statement against Robert Helenius, and then we see Ruiz versus Wilder, or Wilder versus Ruiz sometime next year. For me, Chisora, it's not going to be Dillian White. It's not going to be Wilder. It's not going to be Tyson Fury. I don't know. It's a good question. It's difficult because I think you'll kind of hit the nail on the head right there. We say, what fight do you want to see? And whereas I overthink things with like politics and who's going to fight who. Chisora versus... He's fought so many people. He's already fought Helenius.
And you don't really want to see him in with a young gun either.
It wouldn't be the worst thing, but he's not going to want to fight some young up-and-comer. Yeah. He's just had a win over Kubrat Pulev. He'll want something that's going to advance his career or make him loads of money. Chisora's about the check. Chisora will fight anybody.
Povetkin?
He's retired.
Oh, yeah.
I was told this week that Chisora really wanted the Deontay Wilder fight. He'd apparently told his management team, if you can't get me the Wilder fight, I'm going to go get it myself. And then obviously a couple of days later, we saw the Robert Helenius fight announced. So I don't know. Who does Chisora fight next if the white fight doesn't appear to be likely next? I think it's a good question. Everybody in the chat, tell me who you want Derek Chisora to fight next, because I can't think of anybody. It's funny how the racial aspect... Yeah, man, leave that out. Anyway. Where do you think the winner of Hrgovic-Zhang go next? What's the next step on the ladder for them? It's IBF mandatory at stake. So the IBF, they call their mandatories. The last IBF mandatory was Kubrat Pulev, which was December 2020. The WBA mandatory is next for the winner of this fight, which I think will be the winner of Daniel Dubois in his next fight. We'll have to wait and see who that's going to be. Dillian White. But yeah, I think the WBA mandatory is going to be next. But Zhang, the winner of Zhang Hrgovic or Hrgovic-Zhang, is probably going to take a mark-in-time fight until the mandatory is called. Looking forward to Joshua's attacks to Usyk's body. Hopefully AJ will follow instructions. Do you think body shots are going to be the significant plan from him?
Yeah, 100%. He has to try and slow Usyk down, work the body, get his feet feeling like a lot slower and a lot heavier. But it's just, again, he comes down to whether he's going to be able to close that distance enough and work his way in and be willing to take a shot to be able to land those ones to break him down.
Yeah, we've not really seen Joshua as a prodigious body puncher in the past. He's not really been somebody who works the body against the southpaw. Like the right hand against a southpaw is a very, very dangerous shot to throw. It leaves you very much open to that southpaw left hand. So I don't know. I think he's going to have to chip away at him. He's going to have to try and take something out of him. But it's easier said than done, man. Oleksandr Usyk's going to be in there. You mentioned it earlier. A lot of people are talking about what Anthony Joshua needs to do. He's in there with arguably the best fighter in the world. He's not just going to be allowed to do whatever he wants. Remember, everybody, to please hit the like button. Get your questions in for Andi Purewal and myself, and we'll do our best to get through them. Paul K says, hats off to ID Boxing for level of content this week, both quality and quantity. Who's doing DAZN comms for the main event? I think the world feed is going to be done by my man Barry Jones. Shout out Barry Jones. He's going to be doing the world feed, which I think probably includes DAZN. I think maybe Costello's doing it from remote. But DAZN have not brought a lot of people out here for this. Obviously, there's been a lot of network and promotional politics. So I think Ade is the only guy from DAZN. And what a man he is. If you're going to bring one man over, bring Ade Oladipo every time. Getting through this now. Joshua doesn't have... skipped through there. Oh God, we're trying to get back to these. We're going to have to try and just carry on. ID boxing gross and subs is crazy. 3K gained in a week. It's important for a big fight week to pump up as much as possible as content to gain the subs. Actually been 7,000, I think, this week. Well, that might be wrong. I don't know. But we've gained a lot of subs. We've gained a lot of subs. Thank you very much, Hazzy Unboxing. Big up, Hazzy Unboxing. What bets have you got on for tonight? Betting is haram, bro. I can't bet in Saudi Arabia because they'll tell me off. But, I did do a little betting preview for Bet365. Tebbutt's tips on Bet365. Go and check that out. It's got any bits and pieces in there that I have had a look at. Chisora versus Areola is the one I always wanted to see. Bit of a strange one to want, but Chisora, Areola, do anything for you?
It's not a bad show. I wouldn't mind seeing it. I mean, it wouldn't have been the name that come to my mind, but certainly wouldn't say no to it.
Problem is, again, like, on what platform? Like, Areola's a PBC guy. It's going to be difficult for that to happen. Kaunaki, I don't really want to see that. He's just been beaten up badly twice by Robert Helenius. I think Kaunaki had a fight with Areola that took a lot out of him.
Kaunaki just lost the other week as well,
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he lost to Ali Emmer and Demirizan. So yeah, not Kaunaki. Maybe Demirizan, but again, like PBC and the guy who's with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, I don't really see that happening. Otto Wallin, Chisora Wallin, do anything for you? That's a good shout. Benjamin, that's a good shout.
It's not bad. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that one. That's a good one.
That's a decent shout. I think that's kind of a solid 2 top 15, 20 maybe heavyweights. I think that's decent. Ben says, really happy to see you guys back up. Keep up the great work with the great content. Ben, I can only assume that you've hit that like button. If you haven't, press the like button, and everybody else in there, please like, follow, subscribe, and turn your notifications on. If you like what we're doing, turn them notifications on. You'll get plenty more of it. So yes, any pizza, Rob? I had a pizza on the first night, actually. We got here at 4 o'clock in the morning on Sunday morning, and we had a very questionable pizza. Yes, I haven't had any more since. So, knowing how much I love pizza, you can see why. Aaron, no Ade Oladipo slander in the chat, please. We're here to talk about boxing, not politics. Otherwise, you will be removed. Joshua will win. Ade Taiwo will maybe see. Declan McCarthy, Ortiz versus Chisora. Ortiz obviously boxing Andy Ruiz. If Parker beats Joyce, then Chisora versus Joyce would be decent. Yeah, decent shout. If Joyce wins, why not? Derek Chisora just got a win over Kubrat Pulev. Would you like to see Derek Chisora in with either? Well, I don't want to see the trilogy bout between him and Joseph Parker, so it's going to have to be Joe Joyce. That's a fight that has been discussed. Joyce versus Chisora, do anything for you?
I'd probably rather not see it because I would imagine Joe is just an absolute machine, as they call him, a juggernaut, and he would eventually, I would expect him to kind of stop Derek maybe 4 or 5 rounds in, because Derek would just come and give it his all. And for as tough a man as he is, it's difficult because he's at that stage now everyone's talking. I don't want to see him take any kind of brutal fights.
He might get juggernauted. Daniel Burchett, Chisora versus Hughie Fury. Yeah, I mean, Hughie Fury's going to box Michael Hunter at some point. Has that been rearranged yet?
No, I think November time is what's being touted.
Okay, so yeah, we might not see that. Who knows? Chisora versus Otto Wallin from Paulie Walnuts. Big up Paulie Walnuts. Big supporter over the years. We really appreciate you, Paulie Walnuts. Big up. Kaleem, a lot of people criticise AJ's performance, but I've managed to skip through again. Sorry, guys. Anyway, who's more adapted to the heat? Well, AJ or Usyk? I don't know, mate. You'd have to ask them. But they've both been out. Usyk's been out in Dubai since the end of April. Joshua's been out in Saudi for a month or so. So I think they're both acclimatized, and there's going to be air conditioning in the arena as well. So I don't think either of them will be affected by the heat at all. Trying to keep this moving. Articulate Design, ASMR. Just saw the interview with Andy and Sugar Hill. Fantastic listen. If AJ loses and Fury stays retired, could you see them linking up?
I think that would be a very good move, but it would also come down to kind of how long AJ sees himself working with Robert Garcia, if that was just kind of for one fight or if he sees it being a prolonged move in his career. But I could definitely see a partnership there with AJ and Sugar Hill.
Jay says, has Andy recovered from Big John's stew?
I'm still feeling the after effects of that now, a year and a half on.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. Andy, when is the John Fury collab?
John's a busy man. John's a very busy man. I think he's doing some filming at the minute with BT Sports. So once he's done that, I'm sure we'll arrange something.
Theodore W says, Tebbutt, when is the sit down with Ade on his channel discussing the new venture and leaving Boxing Social? Sometime soon. We were going to do it a couple of weeks ago, but it's been a very, very busy start to thing at ID Boxing. And I will get the interview done, but at the minute I'm very much looking to drive forward what we're doing. I don't really want to talk too much about what happened in the past, purely because I'm trying up my best to push things forward at ID Boxing. So, but we will definitely get it done. What time will the fight be here in the United States? We're going backwards here, by the way. It's just kind of I'm a backwards type character. 5:54 East Coast. Brian Baker, Buster Move 78. Is there a divide between Sky and Eddie this week? I don't think it's been the most harmonious build up to a fight that I've ever encountered, but you probably have to ask Eddie himself about that. I'm sure he's spoken about it on various interviews this week. Trying to get through these. Chisora said he wants Zhang. Chisora Zhang in the Bird's Nest Stadium. What do you think?
Wouldn't mind seeing that one, yeah.
Decent. I think that would be a firefight. That would be decent. Trying to get through them. If we've got any questions, we've just had a super chat come in from Joe Marston. 2 quick fire questions. Who does AJ fight in December, win or lose? Can you please get both Jamie from Punch Perfect and G-Man on your show when you're at home? I'm going to answer the last bit first. So I did something with Jamie from Punch Perfect recently. G-Man Boxing as well. I've been trying to sort something out this week, and he's been very, very patient with me because we arranged the other night for 8 p.m. UK, which was 10 p.m. Saudi time. And I then sat down next to Roberto Duran and kind of fanboyed for a little bit. But they're both really good, man. Like, I really enjoyed catching up with Jamie from Punch Perfect. And I think G-Man does some really good stuff as well. And he's been really understanding about the fact that I've not been able to do it this week yet. But I'm really trying my best to get something done. So, yeah, I would very much like to do something with both of them when we get back and we get up and running. Going to try and whiz through some more of these. Paulie Walnuts, he asked Usyk, how's your body at the face-off after the weigh-in? Yes, he did. There were some rumours that Martin Bacoli apparently hurt Usyk to the body in sparring. But, I mean, if you're taking Billy Nelson's word on how sparring goes, then the best of luck to you. Remember, guys, please hit the like button. There's 344 of you in here and only 126 likes. That's quite the disparity. If you like ID Boxing, you like myself and Andi Purewal and Ade Oladipo. Ade told me before he left he wants everybody to drop a like, so please do that. Some good fights to be made in heavyweight below the top 4 this week with ID Boxing has me hyped. Thank you very much, Daniel Burchett. Hopefully you're saying your name properly. But yeah, there are a lot of good fights at heavyweight. I think we're kind of getting to the end of an era a little bit with Joshua and Fury. I mean, I don't expect Joshua to retire after this, and I don't expect Fury to stay retired, but I think there are some interesting fights to be made as well. Trying to get through these again. Do you think Usyk has been disrespected this time again? People forgetting he's bound to improve.
I feel like people have overlooked him more than what they should do. I don't know whether disrespected is the right word because everybody knows how supremely talented he is, but I definitely think people are overlooking how good of a fighter he is.
Yeah, I think it's sort of inevitable when you've got somebody who. I think the general consensus was that Anthony Joshua didn't necessarily box the right game plan, so to speak, in the first fight. So people are inevitably going to talk about what he needs to do differently. But yeah, I agree. I think Oleksandr Usyk is going to learn an awful lot from being in the ring with Anthony Joshua for 12 rounds the first time out. And I feel like he's going to be even better this time as well. I don't think it's just going to be Anthony Joshua improving. Oleksandr Usyk and the ability to change the pattern of the fight in the middle of the fight, that's key. Barry Jones always talks about this. The great fighters can do something different. If something's not working, they can change up. I don't think we necessarily saw that from Anthony Joshua in the first fight. It'll be very interesting to see how he approaches the fight after 4 or 5 rounds if he's not able to implement his game plan on Oleksandr Usyk early. So, yeah, I agree with Andy. I don't think disrespected is the right word, but I think people are focusing on Anthony Joshua and what he needs to do differently and not necessarily on the... I put out a tweet about it when Johnny Nelson was talking about him being an average southpaw, former European amateur gold medalist, former world champion amateur gold medalist, former Olympic gold medalist, undisputed cruiser. This guy can box. He might be he already is one of the greatest southpaws to ever box. He's in the bracket with your Marvin Hagler's, Pernell Whitaker, Manny Pacquiao, those guys, great southpaws. He's underneath those guys, admittedly, before you all kill me in the chat. But this is a supreme fighter. It's a generational talent. So he's going to be able to do some different things in there for sure. AJS, what other ideas do you have for ID boxing? Would you like to expand into other areas, and how are you planning to outcompete the other guys? We've got lots of other ideas. I don't want to spoil the fun now. We keep trying to do food stuff because we all love to eat. It's basically going to become ID food soon. But yeah, we've got a lot of interesting stuff coming up. I feel like we've kind of shown a little bit of variety in the first month or so. And we look forward to doing that at some other time. Just realised that for Joe Marston, we didn't answer the other question, and I appreciate the super chat. Big him up. Who does AJ fight in December, win or lose, Andy?
I was trying to think about that when you was answering the first part, and it's difficult to think. There's no British heavyweights I think that you'd make a fight with.
If he wins,
that you could. Oh well, Fury, but Fury wouldn't happen in December.
Why not?
Do you think he'd fight from August 20th in December?
Why not?
I don't think he would do.
September, October, November, December. It's 4 months.
I don't know. I think he'd wait until February, March time. That's why I wasn't classing Fury.
I don't know. I feel like there may be something in December. I know Eddie said that he wants him to fight in December, but Eddie says a lot of things. If they fight in December, so let's say he does fight in December.
And that's obviously the obvious one.
And if he loses?
If he loses, all the fighters are over on PBC, so that you'd potentially want to see him in with.
Sufami Dan, Usyk was asked if AJ was the toughest opponent of his career, and he said, yes, I know, because I asked him. I made 8 seconds and passed out, says Neil Sinclair. Hope you're feeling well, man. I hope you're okay, whatever happened. If you think Usyk will win, do you think it will be by KO or points?
I think KO.
Either or. I think there's a chance that he stops him for sure, and there's definitely a chance that he wins on points as he did in the first fight. I think he grinds him down. I do think he maybe gets a stoppage in the second half of the fight. Usyk could target AJ's body too to try and gas him. Could work for either guy. Usyk and Lomachenko are both very underrated body punchers for me. Lomachenko in particular, Luke Campbell, and they're both from the same Ukrainian school of boxing. And he just said that Luke Campbell said he just places his shots well. He doesn't load up, and it's very much the right shot at the right time and just kind of digs those in. But yeah, I agree. Usyk's a very good body puncher, and he's got a terrific engine. Varies the left hand well to the head and the body. Right, I'm going to try and fly through some of these because I'm right up at the very top. Appreciate all the questions coming in. I'm going to do my best to try and get through these things as quickly as I can. AJS, your channel is good because you're intelligent people and you have an intellectual interest in the game. There can be so much innovation in what you do, yet most just repeat the same old questions. We're not that intelligent, but thank you very much. According to reports, PBC and Match are going to work together. Oh, God, it's skipped forward again. All right, we're going to try and just go through these. Fans are expecting a Fury-Wilder trilogy tear-up. Either Joshua goes out on his shield like Wilder or win like Fury with courage, belief, and resolve. I think it will be a little bit more of a chaotic fight. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. I could see there being knockdowns in this fight. Unlike there was in the first one. I could see the chaos arising there.
Debus Magev Carl, Rob is predicting AJ KOs. He's a Matchroom fanboy. Well, Carl, I actually picked Usyk to win the first fight, and I'm picking him to win this one. So right here, pal. Next one, Tall Buildings in Saudi. I Believe I Can Fly. Yeah, great tune. I'm not sure about the guy who sung it, though. Move on from that. Someone is getting knocked out around 7-8. This will not be a boxing match per se. It'll be a brawl after 3 rounds. Yeah, maybe. I don't think this one does go the distance, Andy.
Nah, not at all.
Okay, great job, lads. Got me ready for tonight. Shout out Rambo Smith, watching tonight, wherever you are in the world. I hope you enjoy it, my friend. Thanks very much for the support and the comments in the chat. Remember to hit the like button, guys. Please hit the like button. It helps us with the algorithm and pushes this video out. Trying to get through everything. White would go back to Frank Warren. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Cabayel, Joe Joyce, I'm not sure what that's in response to. Johnny meant it from an Ingle Gym perspective. Don't forget that style is awkward. I think I know what he meant, but the problem that Johnny has is he doubled down with it. He didn't say he wasn't awkward. He said he was average. He had average skills, which is just not true. He's a master boxer. He's one of the best pure boxers in the sport today, if not the best pure boxer in the sport today. So yeah, don't make excuses for Johnny Nelson, man. He's a big boy. He said what he said, and he's going to have to bear the consequences. So the Fury AJ fight will take ages to make. No way it will happen in December. Who knows, man? Funny things can happen when that type of money is on offer. Layla Suleiman, who you backing? I'm not backing anybody. I think Oleksandr Usyk will win the fight, as does this handsome man sat next to me here. Hergovich, Klitschko. Sorry, I keep skipping down and skipping down. Charlie Carpenter, when's the next Punches and Brunches coming up? Soon. We did Fraser Clark a couple of weeks ago, went to Loughborough on the hottest day of the year, so that was real interesting. But yeah, hopefully soon. Who do you want to see next on Punches and Brunches? There's a lot of heavyweights out there who love to eat. If we're going to do other weight classes, then we need to give them plenty of time, because obviously they're going to be starting to cut weight, and I want people to sit there and have a proper breakfast. I don't want anybody sitting down and having a banana. Like, come on, let's get into it. Right, keep going through. I am Feel Usyk, very much Feel, very Feel. Timestamps on your video saves you so much time. I'm glad you like that, because it does take a lot of time to do them, and particularly when this week we've been dealing with quite a lot of content late at night, it is appreciated. So I'm glad you like it. It's about user experience. We want to make the content as accessible for you guys as possible. Andy loves doing the timestamps as well. He even offers to do mine sometimes, so very nice of him. You love the old timestamps, don't you, mate?
Yeah, I'm loving it.
Loves it, mate. Absolutely loves it. But we on a serious note, we are glad that you enjoy it, because it is all about making your user experience on ID Boxing as good as possible. AJ belongs on top. Three time. Yeah, maybe. Usyk points is being overlooked. I'm not sure about that, Reese. I think everybody is kind of picking Oleksandr Usyk. Sacred Neutral, after round 7-8, it gets very interesting. I think it's very interesting already, but I see what you're saying. Trying to get through there. A lot of comments about the timestamps. Big them up. We love the timestamps. Glad you enjoy them. Trying to get through these. Any other questions, get them in. Any specific ones for myself or Andy, we would love to take them. I think we're probably gonna keep going for another 15-20 minutes or so. We've got to get the 4 o'clock shuttle over to the arena, because Andy will cry if we don't get to go over and see Ben Whittaker. Look at his little sad face. Look how sad he's going to be if he does. Put a sad face.
I can't put a
sad face. Anyway, he's just a smiley kid. He just loves it. Watching you guys live, 5 a.m, Vancouver, Canada. Big up Canada, icon Canadian, all around the world. Canada everywhere. Canada to Jeddah and everywhere in between. Big them up. We hope that you are having a good day over there in Canada, and we hope you enjoy the fight tonight. Scott Alexander, is White's punch resistance gone?
That's an interesting question, because we were speaking about this before the Fury fight, because of some of the fights he's had in his career. Personally, I think it's on its way out, if it hasn't already kind of taken a big hit.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of hard fights.
Yeah.
If you look at the fights that he's been in, look, he's given great value, Dillian White. Over the last 10 years or so, he's been as entertaining as any heavyweight in the division. But he's had a lot of hard fights. He had the Joseph Parker fight where he was dropped and he was hurt in that fight. Both Chisora fights were absolute wars. He took a lot of shots. He was knocked out by Alexander Povetkin in a brutal fashion. He was knocked out by Tyson Fury. He was even wobbled by Robert Helenius as well. And, you know, the brain is not meant to be rattled. So it is a concern for Dillian White fans about his punch resistance, but still a very game fighter. And of course, the sparring, you know, he's been sparring and hard sparring with a lot of great fighters over the years. So, yeah, I think it's a good question. I don't think it's necessarily what it once was, that's for sure. Trying to get through these. Has Andy slid into Laura Wood's DMs yet? We're not going to talk about Andy's DMs because it's a brutal place. So we're going to get through that. Going to sidestep that question. We have one coming in now. What did you guys think to Usyk weighing the same? Did you expect it? I heard he looked bigger. Did he look bigger to you before the weigh-in?
It did on the first day, I think it was. And when we saw him, I think it was at a press conference, he didn't to me. But I thought he'd come in maybe 224, 225.
Yeah, because he's not boxed in 11 months and he's now fully settled into heavyweight, I thought he might put on a couple of pounds, maybe 4 or 5 pounds. But, I mean, I made a bet with Eddie Hearn, which Eddie still hasn't paid me for. So, Eddie, you got plenty of money. I know you watch all of ID Boxing's content. So, I want my money, Eddie. I was going to send Andy around. He's going to fill you in. I bet Eddie £50 that Usyk would be under 230. Amir Khan went out there and said that he'd put on 15 kilos, but I'm not sure that maths is Amir's strong point. So who knows what he was thinking. But no, I sat down with Usyk on the Monday, and I felt like he was normal. I didn't think he looked exceptionally bigger. He was, of course, only a quarter of a pound heavier than he was for the first fight, and he was fully clothed when he got on the scale. So I didn't expect him to be much heavier. I thought maybe a few pounds here and there, but certainly not anything that's going to affect his performance. Jalolov, the future of the heavyweight division, in my opinion, yes, very good fighter. Ade Jalolov, Olympic gold medalist, and a very, very, very good fighter. Trying to get through it. Shout out to you guys from Indonesia. Big up Indonesia. Hit the like button if you like all of our content in Indonesia and around the world. Hit that like button, please, guys. Is it 10 p.m. start for the main event in the UK? Absolutely not. The earliest it will be is 10:54. That's the planned ring walk time. I think that there's a good chance of it being slightly later than that, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, it's not going to be 10 o'clock, that's for sure. I saw TalkSport tweeted that, but look, man, go to ID Boxing for all of your news, not TalkSport. Is it concerning that AJ has been speaking on a WhatsApp group asking for advice on tactics? I heard Spencer Oliver mention this on TalkSport.
When you're in the fight week, if this is something happening, because you'd imagine that he should have his game plan now. He should know what he has to. Goes back to the first fight when he got into the ring, and when he asked Clifton Mitchell on ringside, "What do you think I should do?" You're about to face one of the greatest fighters in the sport. You should know what you've got to do. So that's not great to hear.
No, and I think, look, there's nothing wrong with canvassing opinion, but I agree with Andy. If you're this close to a fight, I think you should probably have your game plan nailed down and, not looking for any outside voices. You should have you've got two trainers in the gym. One trainer in particular, no disrespect to Angel Fernandez, he doesn't have the same body of work as Robert Garcia, but Robert Garcia has worked with some brilliant fighters over the years. He's a former world champion fighter himself. That should be enough. Whereas, if you're in the WhatsApp group asking people for their opinions, that it doesn't scream a well-drilled game plan to me. But look, who knows? Maybe that's Joshua's process. It's how he deals with things. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out tonight. If in Scotland to see Josh, why not come through and speak with Martin Bakole as well, Rob? Surely he deserves more exposure after a great win in Paris. First and foremost, what a win that was. Really beat Tony Yoka up big time. I don't know what Tony Yoka was doing in that fight. Ran straight at Martin Bakole, walked into a left hook after about 30 seconds, and then after that it was just pretty difficult to maintain any kind of foothold in the fight. I thought Bakole boxed really well. Bakole's a really talented fighter. The question marks over him have been in the past about his application. He goes back to Congo, and I believe he is a very big deal in Congo. And sometimes it's not always easy to get rid of those outside distractions. But look, Martin Bakole's a handful. He'll be a handful for any heavyweight in the world, I believe. So yeah, if I can speak to Martin Bakole at some point and my old mate, Billy Nelson, then I would love to do so.
Wouldn't mind Chisora Bakole.
Yeah, Chisora Bakole, well done, Andy. Chisora Bakole, we're a fan. We want to see that, Chisora Bakole. If so, hit the like button, please. And then mention in the chat if you fancy that. But I think that's a good one. Has Boxing Social changed name to ID Boxing? No, it hasn't. Boxing News TV, RIP, Boxing News TV. It is now ID Boxing. How is the weather in Saudi Arabia? It's hot, mate. It's really hot.
Might be too hot.
It might be too hot. We arrived on Sunday, early hours of Sunday morning at 1:30 a.m. and it was 35 degrees. So if you're built like me, like a snowman, you start melting. Built like a snowman, Brev. So it's been very warm out here, but thankfully I've probably spent about, over the course of the last week, I've probably spent about half an hour outside combined, just getting in and out of Ubers and whatnot. So yeah, it's been pretty hot, man. Pardon? Same temperature all day. Does it not get hotter during the day?
It's the same. It's pretty much the same all day.
It's just a bit brighter. To be fair, last night was fairly mild. Last night wasn't the worst, but I don't know whether I'm acclimatizing or something like that. I'm getting used to it now. I'm becoming settled in to the Saudi weather. Do you think AJ's camp have pretended they're going in for the KO, but they're actually staying behind the jab and boxing? I don't think that is the case. If that is the case, then I don't think that's going to work. Is Usyk a harder fight than Fury? I assume you mean for Joshua.
For Joshua, yeah, 100%.
You think he's a harder fight for Joshua than Fury?
Yeah, because Usyk's got one over on him now, so I think it's a mental point of view as well.
Yeah, potentially. I think they're both very difficult fights for very different reasons. Yeah, I think Joshua punching down as well. Like Joshua had a lot of trouble with smaller fighters in the amateurs as well. He got knocked out by Mihai Nistor, who was a short fighter, another southpaw as well, winging the shots in over the top. Obviously, was stopped by Andy Ruiz in the pros as well. So, yeah, I think Usyk may be a more difficult fight. I think Fury's, obviously taller than Joshua. It's difficult sometimes for fighters to punch up. But yeah, both very difficult fights for very different reasons. Here's a good question. What has been the best dish you've had there, Andy? I know you like to sample the local cuisine when you're away. What's been the best Saudi traditional meal that you've had since you've been out here?
Unfortunately, we haven't had much traditional food. Last time we came, I had that unbelievable lamb hot pot with ochre in it.
Yeah, that was really good, man.
We haven't had anything like that. I think the best meal I had was like fish and chips. So
yeah, fish and chips.
It was actually really nice as well.
ID Boxing. On ID Boxing yesterday, Robert Garcia stated he doesn't know whether it'll be him or Angel will be inside the ring in front of Joshua on fight night, giving instructions, any confirmation or update. No, I don't have any update on that. Of course, you've mentioned there, it was in my interview with Robert Garcia where he said that. We mentioned before, historically, two trainers in the corner can be a little bit tricky. I know we've had it in the past with Emmanuel Stewart and Oscar Juarez, who worked with Prince Nassim Hamed. Me personally, having never boxed in my entire life, I'm not a fan of that type of setup. But look, it's horses for courses. Whatever works for Anthony Joshua, whatever he feels comfortable with, if that's the type of setup that he feels works best for him, best of luck to him. My own personal opinion, I would like to see one daddy in the corner, somebody who's giving the instructions, implementing the game plan. I don't think there should be any room for any confusion. Leela Suleiman, what time are you guys getting to the stadium? We're going to be getting the 4 o'clock shuttle Saudi time. It's currently 8 minutes past 3, so we're going to probably wrap this up in about 20 minutes. Before we do that, please like, follow, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff there. Ben, you all good? You want to get in the shower? Pish, if you want to get up and get in the shower, I can take over from here. But I mean, Pish, if you want to monitor this, Ben can go and get in the shower now. Are you leaving us?
I'm going to leave.
Andy's going to leave us. Guys, if you want me to stay, I can stay for about 20 minutes. I've had a shower. I think everybody who's followed our work knows that I'm not massively bothered about my appearance. I'll go to the fight and whatever. But if you want me to stay on for 20 minutes or so, you can ask me whatever questions you want.
See, I don't have that privilege. It takes me about half an hour to do my hair.
But that's why he looks like that. So that's why Andy looks great and I look like shit all the time, is because I don't really care. But yeah, Andy wants to shoot off. Andy, before you go, give everybody a big shout out, because I want you to thank everybody. Yeah. Thank the people for tuning in to ID Boxing this week.
Everyone, thank you for tuning into all of our content. Keep on liking, subscribing, all of that good stuff, commenting. We've got a lot more content to come. We hope you enjoy our post-fight stuff as well. Enjoy the rest of Rob's time. Enjoy the rest of Rob's time with you guys. And yes, we will see you soon. Thank you.
Before we go, Bao Singh, shout out Bao Singh every time. Bao, your boy's doing well, man. He's having a good week out here. He said he's looking forward to getting home and going for a mixed grill. So shout out Bao Singh every time. Right, guys, you got me for about 20 minutes if you want me. If you want me to stay, I'll stay. If you don't want me to stay, as Show of Butt says, no thank you, then I will leave and I will go and probably have a little sleep, to be fair. But if you want to ask any more questions, stay here. I'm absolutely all of the people. I'm a man of the people. I'm actually going to sit in the comfy seat. I've decided to sit on the not very comfy seat. But yeah. Daniel Luke says, love the channel, lads. Shout out Daniel Luke every time. Carl Radford, would you say Tyson Fury would outbox Usyk? I don't think he'd outbox him. I think if he's going to beat Oleksandr Usyk, sorry, I'm just going out of shot there, then he would use his superior height, weight, reach, all of that stuff. Am I in shot? Let me have a look at restream. Just trying to get into shot properly for you. Just move this. Oh, sorry. Right, just going through some tech stuff with Ben Faruqi. Shout out Ben Faruqi. Right, I might need to go off a little bit here. Pish, sorry for waking you up from your nap. Do we have any coffee? We don't have a cup, do we? Where's Andy? Is Andy gone? Andy, can you bring me a cup of coffee, please? Sorry. All right, we good? Yeah. That better? Right, I can take this now and put it up here. Base the Kid, the hardcore casual. Big up, Rob. Big up, Base the Kid. I know you've been supporting and following for a long time. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, guys. Okay. Just going to try and get through as many bits as we can before I get going. Sorry, meant to say no. Thank you, lads, for the content. Shoaib, but it's okay. Shoaib, but you're all good, man. Let's try and get through here. Paul K, have you guys hit upload views targets so far this week? All seems great from viewer side. Yes, we have. Look, we've not even been running for 4 weeks yet. And I think if you go through and have a look at the numbers that we've been able to deliver this week, I'm very proud of what we've done, man. We've had to put a lot of work in over the push. Just go, man. Let's get up. Come on, Captain Blackbeard. He's like sliding across the floor. But yeah, no, I'm very happy with how things have gone. The team that we work with here at ID Boxing is brilliant. Like, I couldn't ask for any more from everybody, and I feel like everybody seems to be enjoying what we're doing, which is great. And yeah, the numbers have been actually quite surprising in a positive way. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with how things are going. So please continue to like, comment, and subscribe, and help us grow. As I say, we've not even been running for 4 weeks yet. It'll be 4 weeks on Monday. So yeah, we're trying our best. Mike Thompson, have a great day. Andy, he's gone now, but he's going to bring me back a cup of coffee because he's a good lad. So yeah, looking forward to that. Might we see people change their view on McCracken's tactics after tonight? If AJ comes out aggressive, I think a lot of us can see him getting picked off and tiring quickly, potentially getting KO'd. I think we'll have to wait and see. I think Rob McCracken has done a fantastic job, not only with Anthony Joshua, but of course Carl Froch, and with the amateurs up at the English Institute of Sport in Sheffield. So yeah, I think Rob McCracken is probably a little bit, I don't want to say disrespected, but you know, I think underrated as a coach. I think people have kind of, look, you're only as good as your last fight, whether you're a boxer or a trainer. So yeah. Matt Wilson, I'm getting secondhand travel anxiety from Andy. I don't know what that means, but anyway. Trying to get through these, guys. Appreciate all of the questions. Sorry if I can't get through all of them. I'm not at my best at the minute, I have to say. It's why I'm rambling. Davey D, can I just say the type of quality your video stands out from the rest of the crowd? Great job and keep it up. Thank you very much, man. That means a lot. I appreciate that. Trying to get through. Come on. Baturbiev versus Yard, new dare, or do you mean new date? I think that fight's not going to happen for October the 22nd. Baturbiev, of course, had surgery recently. So yeah. Sorry, guys, for the audio. Getting a few of those I'm deaf now and ouches. Sorry about that. Jay, Rob, have you watched Rerun the City yet on HBO from the same producers as The Wire? I haven't. Heard good things about it. I have to say, though, I wish they used different actors for it. Like, people will know I'm a Wire super fan. Like, I don't really massively love the fact that they're using the same actors from The Wire in a new thing. I think it's difficult for me to kind of differentiate. I know, like, Marlo Stanfield's character is now like a cop. Like, to me, he's Marlo Stanfield. So, kind of difficult. I will definitely watch it. I've heard really good things about it, but that I don't know. But I will definitely watch it for sure. You owe me new ears. It wasn't me, Hurley. I'm sorry, man. I'm really sorry. 11 p.m. UK. Yeah, about that. 10:54. Has the AJ Usyk fight started? No. If it has, I'm out of a job because I'm not there. What time is the fight? 10:54 p.m. UK time. Treble on Usyk, Eubank Jr. and Canelo all points at 7-1. I'd want more than that, to be honest with you, mate. I'd want more than 7-1 Kona Chameleon. I think I'd want a little bit more than that. No ID. Rob, is this new channel yours? I am a shareholder, as is everybody else in the team. We do have an investment company backing us, Kipling House Investments. Big up Kipling House Investments every time. But I am one of the shareholders, as is Andy, as is Ben, as are the other guys who work with us. So I am one of the owners. But yeah, shout out Kipling House Investments every time. Can anyone beat Joe Joyce? Juggernaut seems invincible. Any man can be knocked out. Any man can be knocked out. I don't care how good your chin is. Anyone can get knocked out. Base the Kid, the hardcore casual. I don't want to know who you think wins the fight, but what round do you think it ends in? I think somewhere around 7, 8, 9, like around that kind of that period. UA31, ID Boxing has original ideas. Love it. Thank you very much. Oscar Paxin, you're not on Boxing Social anymore? Absolutely not. James Clifford, fast forward 3 years from now, it's 2020. Well, it's not 2023, 3 years from now, so 2025. 2025, the top 3 heavyweights I think will be Bakadir Jalilov, Daniel Dubois, and Jared Anderson in 3 years' time. I think they've all got a lot of developing to do, particularly Daniel Dubois. But I think if he gets the right fights and is matched properly in those 3 year times, I think those 3 will be. I think Bakadir Jalilov is a great fighter. I think he's going to be the next one up, I think. Jay, coffee or sleep, Rob, before the fight? Definitely coffee. Definitely coffee. Trying to get it. True Blue, did you leave Boxing Social? Yes. Paul K, always great when people who are clearly working their box off achieve success. Well done, guys. Thanks very much, Paul. We do work very hard, and we're very fortunate to do what we do. So I always want to try and make the most of it. I used to get like indignant and stuff when people say you're very lucky. I always go, well, I work really hard, but there's lots of people who work hard who don't get to do what we do. So yeah, we are very fortunate to do what we do, and I make sure that everybody knows it in the team, and everybody works as hard as possible, because you know, you should appreciate the opportunities that you get in life. And we have some, look, man, we're in Saudi Arabia in a couple of weeks' time. Ben and Andy are going to Vegas for Canelo Golovkin 3. Look, I don't like to use the word, but we are blessed very much. So, so thank you very much. I'm going to stop talking about that now before I start crying, because I haven't had any sleep. I'm a big softie. Salute Neil Sinclair. Salute to the Susans, Brev. Can AJ afford to sit on the jab or let Usyk just pick his punches? I don't think he can get behind. I don't think he can get behind the jab for 12 rounds and beat Usyk. I think Usyk's too clever for that. He won't let him do that. He needs to chin him. He needs to get him. He needs to knock him out, I think, or knock him down. Be aggressive. Get him behind the jab. He's not Vladimir Klitschko. I just don't see that. Who will be affected more about fighting at midnight? Neither of them. Enjoy the fight, boys. Stay cool and stay hydrated. Shout out, but thank you very much. Will you be covering the fight live on Twitter? Yeah, probably. Damien, MCC, great to see you two back. Only one of us now, but yeah, shout out Andy. He's just going to be back in a minute. Try and get him in here to say hello. Everyone hit the like button from Boxing. I'm not even saying it now. Boxing is saying it. So like for Boxing. Neil Sinclair, Marlo a cop. Yeah, how many actors out there that you could use? Like Poot's in it, and there's a few others. Like, use different actors, man. I don't get it. Will it be strange not being able to have a beer at the fight? Well, I don't drink, and I certainly don't drink when I work, so it won't be very strange for me. Rob, does Hrgovic Zhang go past 3 rounds? I think it's an early fight. I don't know. I think it might go past 3. It depends. Like, Zhang's going to go mad and run at Hrgovic, and there's not too many people who would do that. So I think 3-4 rounds, it's going to be there or thereabouts. Trying to get through these. Will it be strange not being able to have... I've just answered that. Sorry, I'm washed, man. Oh, here he is. The Coffee King. Is that Ben's one on my one? Come on, Shagger. Thank you very much. Say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye, people.
Goodbye to the people. So, okay. Who would you put top 4 heavyweights? First top 4 heavyweights of all time. Muhammad Ali, Joe Louis, Larry Holmes, and... probably Lennox, maybe 4. Top 3, I think, is pretty set in stone, man. I mean, I know Eddie did like his top 10 heavyweights of all time the other week. He had no Joe Louis and no Larry Holmes, which shows you what Eddie knows about the heavyweight division. But yeah, the top 3 and then 4 is kind of debatable. I'd probably go for Lennox. Usyk, congratulations to you and the whole team. Love this channel. Thank you very much. No ID. Although you got to change your name, man. No ID. All of the ID. You need more ID, mate. Come on. ID boxing. Let's go. We're cooking. Who is Dillian White fighting next? Winner of Ruiz Ortiz, Daniel Dubois. Probably shouldn't say that, but that's who he's fighting. Thoughts on the poor level of competition on the undercard? I think Hrgovic Zhang's a good fight. IBF mandatory fight. So I think that's pretty good. So yeah, hang on. That means the fight would be 2 a.m. in Saudi. Yikes. No, 1 a.m. in Saudi. But yeah, it's not going to be great. Did you know that Oleksandr Usyk was beaten by Sean Porter in the amateur? Sakib, shut up. Sorry, I know Sakib from Twitter, but yeah. Rob, sorry I'm late. Who was given credit for making Ade reply and hence wins a prize? Dale, I'll tell you what, you can win. DM me on Twitter or tweet me or whatever. You can win. I'll bring you something back from Saudi, bruv. No problem. Do you think sanctioning bodies should ban their belts being fought for rematches, especially for Mandos, as that holds the division up for everybody? I don't think there should be rematch clauses for mandatories anyway. Like, I think it's ridiculous. Like, Oleksandr Usyk he's fought his way to become mandatory challenger. Okay, he did it a slightly different way. He came up from cruiserweight with a WBO and he was able to be mandatory that way. But if you're a mandatory challenger, it means you fought your way up. You shouldn't have to beat the champion twice. It's bullshit. Mandatories, having rematch clauses, get rid of it. In the bin with rematch clauses for mandatory challengers. And rematch clauses in general, I think, is bullshit. It holds up the division, as you've rightly said there. The WBC don't sanction rematch clauses or rematches before the fight, but it's up to them to afterwards to not sanction it. But yeah, I think rematch clauses before fights is nonsense. I think if a fight is great or if it's controversial or something like that, then do a rematch by all means. But where's the jeopardy? If you're a champion and you know that, okay, well, if I lose, there must be no fighter thinks they're going to lose, but there must be something subliminally that thinks you get 2 cracks at a whip. Problem is when you get somebody like Oleksandr Usyk who doesn't give a shit. He's like, they said before the first fight, I'm going to beat Joshua twice. I beat him the first time, then I'll beat him the second time, no problem. But generally speaking, man, I think rematches in the bin. If it's a good fight or if it's close or controversial, then yeah, wicked. But get rid of them. It's bullshit. Rob, love what you're doing and loving this new channel. I am Shiesty. Shout out, I am Shiesty. I am Rob and I am liking you too. Thanks very much. Martin Bacoli said that Usyk is trying to... Hang on. I've skipped down again. Are ID boxing sliders in the work? Yes, they are, man. Yeah. Can you consider Usyk unbeatable? No man is unbeatable. Martin Bacoli said that Usyk is looking to box on the back foot. He's looking to fight Usyk in the future. Could that give him issues to have confidence after being in the recent camp? I don't think he is looking to box on the back foot. I think sparring doesn't mean anything really, and particularly when you're as good as Oleksandr Usyk, he can fight on the back foot, the front foot. He could go up, down, left, right, whatever. Like, you're never going to know how he's going to prepare on the night. Like I kind of discussed this earlier. He'll have the capability to do whatever he feels he needs to do in the fight. He'll change depending on what Joshua does. So yeah, I don't think you can really take anything from that. Go on, have pint. Hey, are you going to get me out of the Saudi jail if I have a pint? I don't drink anyway, but I'm definitely not going to drink over here. Aspiration, Usyk is going to get chinned and it's going to be a mad ring to watch. He's going to get it done 6-7. He could very well get chinned. Anthony Joshua can punch. Yeah. Lewis Moore, I sent my CV when you guys first launched, still holding out hope for an email. Lewis, we've had lots of people sending in their CVs at the minute. It's been hard, mate. Like we've not been launched for 4 weeks yet, and we've had 3 fight weeks. So give us a bit of time. I will get back to everybody, but at the minute, yeah, it's mad at the minute. So I promise I will get back to you. Can't make any promises about bringing you in, but I'll definitely get back to you. Lennox Lewis, number 1. Yeah, I mean, not for me, but yeah. Why won't Frank Warren disclose the PPV numbers for the white fight? I don't know. Ask him. I'll ask him next time I see him. What kind of access have you got for the fight tonight? I think we're in like a media tent watching on a screen. I think I might have a ticket because I think only one person was able to be accredited from each outlet, and Dan Barnard has very kindly allowed me in. Joe Lewis fought a lot of tomato cans during his 25 defences. Yeah, but he fought a lot of great fighters as well. And it's 25 defences of the heavyweight crown, back when there was only one heavyweight crown as well. Lester Freeman is going to be on Celebrity MasterChef. Going to be random as hell seeing him and Greg Wallace on the same show. That's mad. That's brilliant. ID Boxing, guessing there are rights to prevent you from doing a YouTube live feed at the event. Twitter between rounds will have to suffice. I don't actually know, to be honest. I don't know. AO, what did this channel used to be? It used to be Boxing News TV, man. Shout out Ben Faruqi, built Boxing News TV with the help of Ayman Khan, who's now still at Boxing Social. But yeah, we bought it to just get up and running. We've got an already monetized YouTube channel. I think it had 9,000 subs when we bought it. So we're moving, we're cooking. Do you know if AJ's 100 million over 5 years DAZN deal, shareholders options, has any contingencies on victories? No, I don't have any idea. Squared Circle, do you feel safe in Saudi? Very safe. I've been treated very well since we've been over here, but it's not anything, I get treated well wherever we go, really, in media. Yeah, but feel very safe. Do you think Callum Smith versus Buatsi be a good matchup next? I think it'd be good. I don't think it would happen. because I think Callum Smith wants to box for a world title. I don't feel like he would want to take a step back in his eyes and box for domestic titles or a domestic fight. I think Joshua-Usyk versus Jean Pascal is a very good fight. That was ordered, I think, by the IBF because Jean Pascal beat Fan Long Meng recently. I think that's a good fight. Does good business for DAZN as well because DAZN is in Canada. They could do that as a pay-per-view in Canada. I'm not an advocate for pay-per-view. I know I had some Canadians in the chat. But Jean Pascal is a big name over in Canada, so I think that could work there. Has anyone asked a question about Badou Jack yet? No, they haven't. Pleased to see him on the card, one of my current faves. Regards to his age, should he win tonight, how far do you think he can go? Look, I think the obvious question with Badou Jack is cruiserweight. Like, there's basically boiled down heavyweights. Imagine, like, Badou Jack versus Lawrence Okoli. Like, that's difficult. But somebody like a Lunga Makabu is not a big cruiser. And with the WBC reducing the limit back down to 190, I think that could be a fight for him in the future. Good fighter, really nice guy. But I think he's probably a bit too small for cruiserweight. But look, we'll have to wait and see. What time will the fight be on UK time? 10:54. Jordan and whoever's doing the stuff for Boxing Social, hey, ID Boxing. Can you do the? Can you just pin a tweet just to say when the fight is, man? Just because people are going mad. But keep asking. Habib the Goat, this guy's talking bollocks. Okay, you're welcome to leave, but please, before you do, hit the like button and subscribe and turn your notifications on, and you can hear me talking more bollocks. Yeah, that'd be good. Eddie made Frank Smith sign a rematch clause before sparring him. That's a good one. I like that. You have to win twice to win once. The division gets held up for a year. It's a joke. Completely agree. Get rid of rematches. Get rid of rematch clauses. Mayweather is unbeatable, Dumbo. Habibi, is he unbeatable? Or, he's not unbeatable. Any man can be beat. I don't care who you are. Sorry I'm late to the party. What's Tebbutt's best bet tonight? Have a look at Tebbutt's tips on Bet365 social media. And I go through the card. So have a look there. Rematches only occur if the first fight was controversial. It was a clear victory, then a rematch. Agree. Do they do big pizzas in Saudi? No, they're a very specific thing to where I live in Bedford, I think. Bedford, if people don't know, is home to a lot of Italian immigrants from over the years. So we have great pizza, man. Like, you don't ever have a Domino's or like a Pizza Hut in Bedford, man. Go to one of the local pizzerias. It's amazing. Is Usyk going to shave his head before the fight? No, he's not. He's going to have the same kind of Ukrainian Cossack warrior thing that he's had going on. He had it in the Olympics. So yeah, he's going to keep that. Who's AJ's main trainer? None of this co-trainer nonsense, surely. I don't know, man. I interviewed Robert Garcia about it, and he interviewed Angel Fernandez, and I don't think either of us are any of the wiser of what's going on there. Big up Shiesty in the chat. Shout out Shiesty every time. If Usyk becomes undisputed in 2 weight classes, does he deserve to be top 10, 20 of all time, especially considering how he did it? It's difficult, man. Like, it's always hard to kind of rank fighters from each era. Like, and an undisputed now is not, it's 4 belt era. There'll be people in here who are kind of like sick and tired of hearing that. There's times like Lennox Lewis was the undisputed heavyweight champion, but he didn't hold the WBO title because the WBO wasn't considered. It's kind of like the IBO now. In 10 years' time, it might be the 5 belt era. The IBO might be part of undisputed. So it's difficult, man, to kind of to bring in those kind of comparisons between different eras. Getting 400 in there now. All listening to me ramble, man. That's mental. But anyway, click like. Please follow, subscribe, turn your notifications on. I'm going to have to go shortly because we need to get ready to get over to the arena. Gloves Red, keep up the great work, Rob. The Dream Team is smashing it already. Big up Gloves Red every time. Drop him a little follow and a subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow on Twitter. Show support for the gang. Gloves Red is a big man. We like him a lot. Let's keep going. Come on. Fury versus Usyk. Would you give Usyk a good chance? Continue success. Absolutely, I'd give Usyk a good chance. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Have you sensed any tension between DAZN, Sky teams in the build-up this week, or have they been chatting as normal in each other's presence? I mentioned earlier, I think Ade is the only person who's come over from DAZN, and Ade is the loveliest man in the world. So I don't think there's been any tension between him and everybody. But yeah. Okay. Carry on talking bollocks. Yeah, I'll do my best. I'll do my best. Do you think Callum will have to work his way into title contention coming off a bad loss at the weight below? Feels we get another title shot without beating a world level light heavyweight. If he wins tonight, he's mandatory for Ade Oladipo. So, yeah, he's up there, man. He's there or thereabouts. Sean the Icon. Rob, how was the breakfast this morning, bro? It was the first time I didn't have a proper breakfast. I had 3 double espressos for breakfast because it's been a hard week, man. And when it gets to like Friday fight week, it becomes really hard work. Last night I like fell asleep while we were kind of talking, which is a bit embarrassing. But anyway, just to help you all out, ring walk time for main event is expected 10:30 p.m. UK time. No, it isn't. It's 10:54. Should champions title holders be mandated to fight a minimum of 3 times a year, especially if unified to stop the backlog of mandatories? No, I don't think so. I think it's difficult to do that. Like, the sport's a lot different now. And then what? Somebody gets injured, somebody gets a cut, then you're in a real predicament with stripping people and stuff. No, I don't think so. But like, I think there needs to be more regimented. If you don't defend your title within a year, you should be champion in recess or stripped or whatever. But yeah, no, I don't think 3 times a year. Luke, yes, Roberto, good to see you. Well, mate. Shout out, Luke, every time. Richard Bryce, great channel. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Richard Bryce. I will most certainly try. Malik is going to the Shisha Caf. Okay, cool. Enjoy that, bro. I've never had Shisha ever. But yeah, hope you enjoy it. Oscar Paxton's going for a curry. Always a curry on fight night. Good man. Luke going for the Chinese. Daniel Burchett, Indian. Okay. Max Aspirin. Hi, what time the fight? 10:54 p.m. UK time. I'm sure you can find out on socials. Mayweather's never undisputed and never held the Ring Magazine belt. I think he held the ring belt. But yeah. Who do I think will win? I think Oleksandr Usyk will win. What happens to Boxing Social, bro? I don't know. Ask Boxing Social. Long live Serbia. Shout out Serbia. Boatsi Yard, who wins? Yeah, I mean, I'll probably go for Boatsi. That's a good fight, man. And I think Anthony Yard in his last fight against Lyndon Arthur really showed some improvements. When are you getting time on the channel? I don't know, man. I'm trying to sort out. I'm not thinking too far ahead at the minute. Is this your new channel, Rob? Yes, very much. Jay, thanks for the content, Rob. Very welcome, Jay. Thanks very much for watching it. And of course, liking, subscribing, and turning your notifications on, as I'm sure everybody else is doing now. 374 of you in here. So please, can we get a like? We're at 211 at the minute. If we can get up to like 300 likes, man, I'll be very, very happy. And then I can go and do some work. Figueroa Lipinets, who wins? Good fight. Interesting fight. I think Ben was saying probably a more interesting fight than we were due to have with Adrian Broner. I think, what is it, a welterweight? 147 pounds? I think so. Yeah, Broner wasn't going to do 140, was he? It depends on how much Lipinets has got left and how much prep he had. I know he was kind of lined up as a replacement, but when you're a replacement, are you really going to be as intense as you would have been if you were on the card? So I don't know, Ryan. What do you think? But it's a good fight. I like Lipinets. Okay. Right, gonna try and get through this. Do you think cruiserweight Hay would beat Usyk? No, I don't. Whitaker/Aziz, who wins? I think that it's too early to pick Whitaker to beat Dan Aziz. Like, Whitaker, I think, is a brilliant fighter. I followed him through the amateurs. He's got loads of talent, but Dan Aziz is a good fighter, man. He's a British champion. You don't just go and beat those guys straight out of the bat. I'm sure Ben Whitaker will feel that he can do it, but at the minute, I can't sit here and go, yeah, Ben Whitaker beats Dan Aziz, because we've only seen Ben Whitaker box 4 minutes, or not even that, 3.5 minutes as a pro. So shout out Dan Aziz, by the way. What a man. And Ben Whitaker, you know. Which undercard fights you most looking forward to? Definitely Hrgovic versus Zhang. Enjoy yourself tonight, Malik Bashar. I'll try my best. Are you there in person? How do you Usyk and Joshua seem in person? Or atmosphere coming from you? Both seem very relaxed. Oleksandr Usyk, I've been around him a few times and build up to fights. He's always relaxed, man. He's always a bit crazy as well. I like him. If Usyk can weather the AJ fast start, says Shiz Gaming, he will have him out in 6 rounds. Yeah, I think that's the general consensus. Rob, of all the boxing today, better prepare the coffee mug, champ. We've got the coffee now, made by Andi Purewal. We haven't drunk it yet because he's not a coffee drinker. He hasn't put a little dash of cold water in just to cool it down. Let's see what it's saying. Always put 2 in there as well. Good man. Good man. Let's go. Thanks for all the waffling while I tidy up my flat. You're always welcome, Sakib. Seems like Bacoli did damage in sparring if rumours are to be believed. Listen, man, sparring is sparring. And it sounds like, cliche, but it is true. Sparring is sparring. ID Boxing Live, Martin Tyler voice, yeah. Paterno was 36. I think he's 36 or 37. Who wins, Boots or Ortiz Jr., says Clouds Gaming. I think that's going to be the fight. That's going to be the fight at 147 or maybe 154, but I like Boots, man. I think Boots is very good. He's a big problem. But look, Virgil Ortiz is a brilliant fighter. Brilliant fighter. But I think, gun to my head, I may go for Boots. But look, Ortiz is a wonderful talent and he could definitely win that fight. And he's boxed the better opposition. He's definitely boxed the better opposition than Boots so far in his career. So, but that is the fight. I think I missed it. Who was your pick for Joyce Parker? I think I probably lean towards Joyce points, but very good fight. Really good clash of styles as well. I think that's going to be a good fight. But one thing's for sure, like Parker's not a big, massive puncher, but he's sharp. And he's certainly under Andy Lee. He's throwing shots with more venom and spite. And look, Joe Joyce got a very good chin, but any chin can be cracked. Anybody can be knocked out, particularly at that weight class. Considering WBC Manda would probably call the end of the year at the earliest, would Smith have a good shot at 39-year-old Beterbiev? I'm not sure how old Beterbiev is. I've seen people saying 36, 39. Beterbiev's the number one in the division in my opinion. I think Bivol's obviously a great fighter. I think Beterbiev is a different level. So yeah, I think anybody who beats Beterbiev is going to be a hard slog, man. I think Beterbiev is a favourite against everybody. Do you detect real confidence from the Joshua camp? It's difficult to say. I think outwardly they're confident, but is it real confidence? I don't know. We'll see. Tyson Fury will be fighting Lucas Brown next. I fucking hope not. That wouldn't be great. Where can UK people watch for free? Listen, man, support the fighters. They're getting in there. They're risking their life. Support the fighters. Although they are getting paid a lot of money. So, but yeah, I'm always an advocate. I pay for everything, but that's because I work in boxing, and I feel like if I take money out of the sport by interviewing fighters and stuff like that, I always feel like it's probably a good thing to put it back in as well. So, yeah. UK Boxing Rob. Shout out UK Boxing Rob. Right, okay. Right, guys, any more questions for me? And I'll try my best to answer them. I've got to get going. AVFC, cheers, Rob. One of the few I genuinely listen to always. Thanks very much. There are a lot of great other people out there to listen to besides me. 5% on the battery, so you really got to be quick to get stuff in before I go. Rob, you interviewed Roberto Duran. How's the experience, Chabby? It was fucking amazing. I shouldn't really swear because we get demonetized. But yeah, it was brilliant, man. Brilliant. I spent like an hour with him talking. It was my dad's birthday. So he filmed like a happy birthday message for my dad. We did an hour off camera just chatting through things. And then he came back and we did 35 minutes. So it was great, man. It was the favourite interview I've ever done by some distance. I never thought I'd get the chance to speak to Roberto Duran, and he was brilliant. He was everything I wanted him to be. Sometimes you meet people that are different. He was brilliant. He was brilliant, mate. So thanks very much, and please watch it. Okay, trying to get through. Cool. What's your favourite flavour of ice cream? I'm a chocolate man. Can someone let me know what time the undercard starts UK time? I can't remember. Did you know Lomachenko's right-handed? No, but it doesn't surprise me. Any plans to continue the Wirecast interviews? I had one lined up a couple of weeks ago, and unfortunately we couldn't make it happen. I'm very busy with the start of the new business at the minute, so it is quite tough. But I'm trying my best. Rob, who would you think would win, Ben or Eubank Jr.? I think Eubank Jr. would be too big. I think Ben's very good, and I was really interested to see his development at 147. But I do think Eubank's probably going to be a bit too big and experienced. Happy birthday, Rob Tebbutt Senior. It was yesterday. Who would you back, Purewal versus Zuma? Come on, man. I got to back my boy, man. Purewal by KO, first round knockout. Easy work. Enjoy the fight. Great content so far. Thank you very much. Will Fury come out of retirement if Usyk wins? Yes, he will. Who wins, Boots or Ortiz? Boots. My money on Jake Paul. Big up Jake Paul. Angel Fernandez, is he the real deal? Ask me tomorrow morning. When's the first ID Boxing News Twitter space? We already did one on the way back from Bournemouth. If you missed it, that's your fault, UK Boxing Rob. Okay, thoughts on Ty and Booth? Never met him. Shakur Stevenson versus Devin Haney. Who you got? Obviously not at the same weight class at the minute, but if and when that fight happens, I like Shakur Stevenson. I think he's amazing. Okay. Right, I think we're about there now, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on our Fight Day Live. It's the first live that we've done on YouTube. It won't be the last. Thank you very much for all of your questions. Certainly the people who have donated super chats and whatnot. Thank you so much. Prediction tonight: deep random finger. I think Usyk wins the fight. Great job, Rob. Thank you very much. Why big up Jake Paul? Tall because he makes us loads of money, mate. Loads of money, stacks of money. Brilliant, unbelievable, great stuff. Ben versus Spence. Enjoy the live, Rob. Thanks, team. Enjoy the boxing. Thank you very much from me, Rob Tebbutt, from the rest of the ID boxing team. We are out from Saudi. Enjoy Joshua-Usyk 2 or Usyk-Joshua 2 tonight. And thank you very much for stopping by. Pow.